Hello, all. So, this is a word for God's chosen who have been out there on the battlefield working hard and heavy, especially this last year. You have been going hard and heavy for God. He has a word for you. And this comes from Psalms 119, verses 81 through 88. Psalms 119, verses 81 through 88. For God's children who have been out there fighting like crazy in His name, especially this last year. It's been hard. Boy, I tell you. First time He led me to this was 11/10/13. Right. And then again on 11/15/13. Right. Because He confirmed something for me. God came and helped me. He came and saved me from whatever it was I was going through at the time. That's why I write notes in my Bible. But let's get back to your message. Right. It took 5 days for God to come through, right? Or for at least for me to notice He came through, right? So my soul fainted for the salvation, but I hope in thy word. Mine eyes fell for thy word, saying, when wilt thou comfort me? For I am become like a bottle in the smoke. Yet I do not forget thy statutes. How many are the days of the servant? When wilt thou execute judgment on them that persecute me? The proud have digged pits for me, which are not after thy law. All thy commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help thou me. They had almost consumed me upon earth, but I forsook not thy precepts. Quicken me after thy loving kindness, so shall I keep the testimonies of thy mouth. So this is saying that no matter what happens with this servant, this person who has chosen to follow God wholeheartedly, he's saying, God, I chose you. I chose what you asked of me. I say yes to it. So now you have to help me. You have to protect me. You have to pull me about this thing because something's trying to consume me that I can't get out of. Now this is hot and heavy. You said when it get hot and heavy, you'll pick me up and carry me and run with me. So what's up? But you won't fall and break nothing, right? So these people are after me, and I'm doing your job, and I'm trusting you, God. When are you going to come and get them? When are you going to give me some relief? So these are the servants who are out here on the battlefield going through it, looking for God now, like, where you at? He's here. He ain't left. He hasn't forsaken us. This is where you understand when it get hot and heavy. Your faith must remain. In your faith, He's given us all a measure of faith. So keep digging in your faith bag. Those of us who are on that battlefield going crazy, going wild, recenter yourself, right? And dig back into your faith bag, right? Because we all have that moment where we like, whoa, woo-wee. We don't turn away from God, but we be ready to, right, go to some old school tactics on somebody, right? And God say, no, keep the faith. I gave you a measure. Always keep that faith. Never let anybody snatch your measure of faith that I gave you. You know when it gets hot and heavy what time it is. And God's time. Don't look at Earth's time. Don't look at people's time. Look at the timing that I told you, that I've always reminded you of. I've always said it's going to come. I've always told you it was going to come. So now it's your turn to remain what? A dike, a D-I-K-E, not them kind that's women, them kind that's what? Them kind that's in the water, right? Them big old tall logs that's in the water, right? Right. He said you have to be like a stake. Keep my faith in your heart and drill it in with a stake and never let it go. Because I always come through for my children. What type of father would I be if I did not? You trusted me all this time. You kept your faith all this time. So now that I'm putting your faith to the test, my dear children, please understand. I equipped you for this. You are ready. You've been ready. You see it. You're fighting against it. Yes, you're getting exhausted, but remain. Remain. He says, I hear you crying out. That's what that whole passage is about. I hear you crying out. And he says, remain. Remain in faith. Don't ever turn away from the faith. Because if you turn away from the faith, then you'll be lost just like the rest of them. And you are my children. And I know you're much stronger than that. So you're not going to turn away from the faith. What you will do, though, is scream, holler, and pout until you remember my word. Recheck your heart. Go back and get the personal word I gave you for your time of war. Remember that word I gave you personally for your time of war. Not someone else's time. Your time. Not someone else's word. Your word. Stand fast. Stay steadfast. Don't look behind. Continuously look forward. Because I'm behind you, protecting you. And I'm before you, clearing out the way as well. And I'm on both sides of you, keeping the pressure off. Right. So you would never be crushed when you're doing what I ask you to do in my name. Heavenly Father. Right. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. But I, God, will always keep you. If you are doing what I told you to do, if you're staying on the path that I sent you on, you never have to worry about no side. I cover all my sides. Right. Now you all have a wonderful morning.